Hogan. I'm the chair of the Parks Committee. I'm joined by Councilor Allen, Councilor Paniagua, and I'm looking forward to see if Councilor Driscoll's in. Okay.
I'm on.
Okay, Councilor Driscoll's on too. So I believe that's all the city councilors I have on, and we have some items here for the Parks Department. Commissioner LaFave, why don't you take us through this if you can?
Sure will. Good afternoon. All right, so we'll start with my capital allocations or authorizations. So I am requesting authorization for first capital improvement program under park facility improvements. So we intend to do improvements in Burnett Park, Schiller Park, Wadsworth Park, Huntington Park, Eastwood Heights. Additional parks may be included as funds allow, but we'd like to allocate these funds before the end of the fiscal year.
Excellent. Any questions from my fellow councilors on these park improvements and capital improvement on the capital improvement program?
Yeah, Julie, which, forgive me if I'm being redundant. What improvements are we looking at in Eastwood Heights?
Well, I'm allocating funds there so that in preparations for the public engagement we're doing.
Oh, great, great. And is there a specific amount set aside for that, or?
So the amount is not set aside per park. It's 150,000, which includes a few parks because, for instance, Burnett Park needs a new roof. So I have a few parks in that 150.
Okay,
so
great.
Commissioner, that's predicated on a public engagement?
No, so some of them are current plans that we want to do, and others are we're making plans for this next immediate year. Councilor Driscoll and I have been working with the Eastwood neighborhood that they need desperately need some amenities added into their parks. So this capital account park facility improvements, I wanted to allocate some of that towards Eastwood Heights.
Okay.
And
So
I put Huntington in there as well because we've been engaged with many neighbors there for improvements there.
Okay. So in other words, that money hasn't been designated yet, but it's going to be part of this pot.
Correct. So I'm designating a few parks, which is standard practice, what we usually do, because if we can address it. So I have an immediate need, for instance, right now that I have an immediate need. I have to address the roof at Burnett. So that's in here. So that's why I listed a few of them because approximately 35,000 will repair Burnett, but that doesn't eat up the whole 150.
Which roof are you repairing?
Above the locker room and changing rooms.
Okay, so it's in the former ice rink then.
Yeah, well,
correct.
Correct, and used by the pool aquatics facility.
Okay, so it's in the pool facility. Okay.
It's in the building in there.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, that seems to be okay. Does everybody, all my counselors, you want to vote in the affirmative for to move this item onto the agenda?
Yes, all set.
Yes.
Everybody's all set. Okay. Any opposed to that? No. Okay, let's go next there.
I have one final capital authorization from the current fiscal year, and that is $132,000 for equipment. I just want to make sure you guys have because I sent a revised letter hopefully before it got to you, but it's for trucks to be purchased for our grounds and forestry. That will include lift gates, salters, plows as we need them.
So when did that letter come in? Just now?
So, okay. So I will say that I'm still working on the quotes. So I actually am going to ask permission because I just got the quotes in hand to purchase 3 trucks. The price to purchase 3 trucks, but there's a little bit remaining of the 132,000. So I'm trying to round up quotes for 2 golf carts, which are desperately needed at our larger parks for the staff who are there. So if we can discuss it right now, but I will between now and hopefully by Friday of this week send a revised letter to allocate the 132,000 for 3 trucks and 2 golf carts.
And they would be able to, after the first of the year, or the 1st of July, you would be able to
order them.
Okay. City Clerk, is that okay? John?
Yeah, as long as I get the revised letter before I put the book together, it should be fine.
My delay has just been the quotes, and I take this blame for that from this department. This was just, we were preoccupied in the pandemic, and I just noticed that these funds hadn't been allocated yet, so I'm trying to allocate them before the end of the fiscal year. So I'm getting the quotes right now, I couldn't get them in time for today.
After the year you've been through, Commissioner, with the pandemic and the effect it's had on your department, you're not to take blame. You got a blameless next decade, I'd say. So
Thanks.
Yeah,
I'll be able
you
to,
know-
I'll hold that if I need it. But these trucks, just to let you know, these trucks though, we have new positions that the council approved, a landscape a forestry technician and a creek walk supervisor. So these vehicles are extremely important to us because we have new people, but no vehicles for them to drive.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Any questions of the Commissioner regarding this?
So I was just wondering, I mean, $132,000 doesn't seem like a large amount of money for 5 vehicles. Are you gonna be okay?
So I do have the quote for I do have a quote for 3 trucks already, and it's at 115 or so thousand. So we do have the quotes that it is enough to purchase 3 trucks, and that's why I'm just trying to get the remaining quote for the 2 golf carts.
Okay.
Those 2 golf carts, will it be at Burnett or will it be at Sunnycrest, or will it splitting them?
Well, so TBD, they don't necessarily have to be at a golf course, because if you think about it, we assign staff to work at all of Onondaga Park, or we assign an employee to work at all of Thorndon, and sometimes they don't have a truck, but they need to get around the park quickly.
Okay, good. For the large parks then, great.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Hearing none, is everybody okay with moving this onto the agenda? Please signify by saying yes, or a thumbs up will do.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, anybody opposed? Hearing none, that goes on the agenda. Okay, what do we got next there, Councilor?
All right,
or,
I'm
Commissioner?
requesting authorized payment for a musical performer. We have not determined. We are having a internal event that we are working on with the Parks Conservancy at Burnett Park. So this is to authorize payment not to exceed $1,200 for a band at this event.
So this will be in the former ice rink?
No, this will be at the golf course, outside the golf course.
Commissioner,
Yeah.
the only
Outside.
concern I have is historically, if we don't name the person, they won't pay them. You know, if they're not listed in the ordinance as who we're paying.
So we
have a
just,
hard time paying them.
okay, the last meeting did this same thing for a group of musical performers, and it was approved by council, but
I'm just telling you what you're gonna run into when you go to get the check cut. It probably
Okay.
will be the same for the other meeting, is that if you don't name the person, they don't like to cut the check. That's been my experience anyway.
okay. And I will try to book a band in the next 2 days, so I'll try to work under that same thing. If I'm gonna try to make an excuse, it's just that the mandates have loosened so quickly on us here that we're trying to adjust to the summer. So that's the reason we haven't been able to book.
Did you know what you're looking for? What kind of music?
We're looking for family friendly at the golf course. So I guess it's just something that pleases everybody.
Okay, just in case something
Well,
comes up.
I imagine you're not going to be booking anybody from like Los Angeles or anything. You're gonna
No,
be
this is
booking a
local
musician,
bands.
right? I was
Local
only
bands.
Yeah, we support local art.
Yeah, that's right. Sure, we certainly do. Okay, good. Any other questions of the Commissioner? What's the event for anyways? What's at the end of the golf tournament or something like
No,
that? Or
well, so
leagues?
it's an event that's going to be announced next week at a press event at the golf course. But basically, the Parks Conservancy is doing 2 rather large events. And obviously, anything they do supports the Parks Department. So we are turning it into an event where we're going to have food trucks there, refreshments, youth games, the golf course open for selling memberships. We're doing a ball drop and $1 million shot. That's the Parks Conservancy, and we want to have a musical performer at this event. It's kind of a big coming out of pandemic event for us to host from the Parks Department as well.
Okay, it sounds exciting. I'm sure we'll get invitations regarding
will.
that, of course. Okay,
And it's
thank you.
free. There's no cost. The only cost would be food or anything that somebody purchases.
Okay. Any other questions from the council? Counselors? Are we all okay with this?
Yep, all set with me.
Okay, that's, okay, and that letter will be coming in too, I imagine soon. Okay, next, Commissioner.
Okay, next, the last meeting, you approved a variety of our annual paying of instructors and paying of musical performers or whatever it may be. We forgot one. This is to cover us for the year July 1 and after. Legislation for us to be able to pay for coaches, scorekeepers, referees, and officials for all of the athletic type programs we have from July 1 to June 30th.
Okay, this is an annual expense.
This is an
so-
annual letter written the exact same way we write it every year. Because sometimes we may pay we may pay one referee $45, so we don't go to cut a council every time. We have to pay $45 or whatever.
Okay. Any questions regarding this item? Hearing none, I ask for an affirmative vote to move this on to the agenda. Everybody okay? Counselor Allen,
Yes.
Counselor Paniagua,
Yep,
Counselor Driscoll? Okay,
Yes.
okay, so anything else there, Commissioner?
I do have some items. So, enter into an agreement with the Haven at Skanda. If you have been reading the
yeah.
news, this is the Cuse Quines program, which thanks to Counselor Driscoll for making that connection with us with the retired police officer. But this is for us to actually enter into an agreement with the agency, the nonprofit bringing in the horses and miniature donkeys.
It says one miniature donkey on the letter. You're bringing in more than one?
Well, it says horses and say I will add an S if you'd like me to add. I actually don't know what horses, but I don't know what the exact breakdown of horses to donkeys.
You don't know the difference?
No, I don't
Commissioner?
know the breakdown of how many they're bringing of each.
Oh, how many are involved here? Okay, well, now where's that gonna be?
It is at different parks on different Sundays. We moved it around the cities to try to serve as many as we can.
Okay, and you'll send us a schedule on that?
I can. I will send a revised letter. If I can find a pen, I will send a revised letter with the locations.
Well, this sounds like a great program right here, so. And I've read about it. That's terrific. Any questions from my fellow colleagues, my counselors here regarding this? Okay, hearing none, I'll ask for a vote of yes to move this onto the agenda. Everybody
Yes.
okay
Yes.
with this? Yes?
Yep.
Anybody opposed? Okay. Next,
Oh, my final two
Commissioner.
items are requesting amendment to legislation. The previously approved amendment or ordinance for deer tick said in an amount up to 20,000. We received another bill that I didn't anticipate, so I'm requesting that original ordinance for our reimbursement to be up to 25,000. This is just our agreement with the county for them to reimburse us for bills that I submit.
so where are we going? How much are we going from?
So the previous
this?
ordinance said we were gonna enter into an agreement with the county for them to reimburse us up to $20,000. The city spent a little more than $20,000 so that we can, I need to amend this so that we can get 100% reimbursement from the county.
So let me just make this clear, Commissioner. You're amending the prior ordinance because it doesn't really say that in the letter. It just says you're amending the 25,000, but you mean
Yep.
you want to go back and amend the ordinance.
So I actually listed ordinance 161/2021 and I actually supplied the ordinance that we're amending. If the first sentence. I can write a note if you would like me to adjust that letter, but I did write amend ordinance 161. I think you're muted.
I see it. I see it now. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so we're all set with that? Okay. And are there any questions from my colleagues? Okay, hearing none, I'll ask for an affirmative vote on this. Everybody, yes?
yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, anybody no? Okay. Let's go on.
Okay, the final is another amendment. This is amending ordinance 158/2021. The original ordinance was to accept funds from Jim and Julie Boeheim Foundation directly. I need to amend that the same dollar amount of funds will now be received from the Syracuse Parks Conservancy.
So the money's coming through the Parks Conservancy. It's going to be, the money's going to the Parks Conservancy, then to the Parks Department, correct?
Correct. That's correct.
Okay. Okay. Any questions on this? Councilor Driscoll, I know you had a lot to do with this situation. You campaigned endlessly on it and advocated for this. And I'd like to at least acknowledge your involvement in doing this, being an old Parks guy. So we really appreciate it. You might want to say anything there, Joe?
No, thanks, Councilor Hogan. I appreciate it. It's been a long road for Julie and I trying to figure out how to navigate this. But I'm very grateful I just want to give a shout out to the Parks Conservancy for being really another great partner that Julie and I had throughout all this, and always being willing to adapt. And thanks again to the Boeheims for their generosity. And I think this is a park that desperately needs it. So it's going to be nice to see a fresh new court sometime soon. So thanks for the opportunity, Councilor Hogan. Appreciate it.
No, that was excellent work, and you too, Commissioner, on that. I know a lot of times folks take, sometimes stand in front of the Parks Department and maybe a city councilor on the east side who really advocated for that and take all the bows, but we really know who gets the work done. So I appreciate it. So any other questions regarding this? Okay, I'll ask for an affirmative on this from everybody involved, all my colleagues. We okay?
Mhm.
You okay, Councilor Allen?
Yes.
Councilor Driscoll? Good, okay. So that moves on to the agenda too. Anything else you got for us, Commissioner?
I don't have any other items. I just wanted to say thank you for that acknowledgement of the work that Councilor Driscoll did with us, but also just to remind you guys, or if you didn't receive it, but we have a number of public events coming up that we're celebrating, and hopefully you all received the schedule of that because I sent it to the council office.
I did receive the schedule, and it looks like we're returning to normalcy. Actually,
We are.
more than normalcy. You're doing a tremendous job there, Commissioner, and we really appreciate the people. Really appreciate the parks, and it's does my heart good when I see that. In fact, I think I copied you on something about Peter took care of an issue. As far as the grass mowing with the grass contractor on Leavenworth Park, and those folks down there really appreciated it too. So,
Well, and the cherry on top is that park also got wood chips on the playground yesterday, so they'll really be happy.
absolutely, they have great events down there. Middle Ages does, and people make use of the park when they're sitting outside listening to music. So it's great thing to see a neighborhood enjoy a park like that. So, okay, hearing any other questions from my colleagues, and hearing none, I'll call the Parks Committee meeting to a close. Thank you very much, Commissioner, and everybody involved. See ya.